Gotta love them. Oh, I forgot our thugs. They mean business. They broke that man's skull. It was gushing blood. That's actually rather intense. The nice thing about her attacks is that seemingly it's a one-shot. Once she was able to, like, one-shot the wyverns. Never mind. I didn't realize we'd have backups. I got a little cocky there. That's on me. I love their reactions from these guys. I mean, it's reasonable. I'm not gonna say I'd be doing worse than them, to be honest. I'd be like, who do I need to suck off to get out of this situation, please and thank you. You know, I'll be honest. The parental shit in this show is interesting. Because I was expecting a lot more hostility from Mama Dearest. She seems genuinely regretful. It's fascinating seeing both our boy's father and her father and mother. Do I even need to say it? This meat is so good. That was my meat. She's right here being like, this is the wettest of dreams I've ever had, having these two say it like that. Once again, for legal purposes, everything I'm about to say, the title included, are jokes. But that shit won't protect you. Now you may be saying, Brandon, you are beating a dead horse more than people beat their meat to best girl in this series, and to that I say, go fuck yourself. Here's the thing, this season has been so fucking incredible. All these goddamn upcoming anime seasons this year look mid as shit in comparison for me. This show was so good, alongside stuff like Noble Reincarnation, that no season 2 would be fucking diabolical. So that shit, it ain't even gonna need to be updated at this point. It gonna cease to exist because it ain't gonna cover what I'm capable of. Totally jokes. Now, of course, those were just some of my highlights. Full live reaction does live over my Patreon. Consider supporting if you so wish, but we gotta talk about the last episode. I gotta be real, though. I've seen a lot of endings. Both things that immediately get a Season 2 confirmation, some that come a few days later, some that come years later. But in general, this might be one of the most satisfying stopping points I can recall. Is it the entire story done? No. But the big thing about this episode is that after the credits, so the credits start playing around 18 minutes in, right? So you still got a handful of minutes left once it's all said and done. And just seeing, you know, they did a lot of flashback, not in a way that's bad, but they reminded you very quickly. They have this like piss-colored filter, which I'm not a huge fan of, but it does get the job done to remind you it is a flashback. But we get to see a lot of the, man, it even for me, who's obsessed with the show, I forgot just how far this whole area came. They were living in shacks, they were starving, and now they got an entire, it feels like everyone has fucking mansions at this point. Like, this is a lord who treats his people right. And the biggest praise I can give on why it feels satisfying is both of these characters, both Van and Arte, ended up dealing with their family stuff in a very realistic way. So last week I highlighted just how much I enjoyed the fact that Lord Van's father is not who he appeared to be, which was just, oh, I'm going to be very arrogant, or I'm going to pretend like I always knew Van was strong, or he's just going to double down on his hatred. What did he do instead? He decided to actually acknowledge Van, which you don't normally see. And it very much annoyed me last week because I felt like I explained it that even a toddler can understand what I'm saying, so I'm gonna have to repeat myself, and I'm not gonna repeat myself again. So listen, or you're gonna piss me off. In this world, as I said, Lord Van's father did nothing different than most fathers would do. Now, I'm sure there's some fathers who love their kid, whatever. But realistically, in a world that treats this production magic like it's fucking shit, you are a disgrace on the family name. You don't deserve our bloodline. Most rich fathers would probably do what Van did. Hell, most fathers would have actually committed. Yes, Murica, that's what I call his brother, don't fucking ask questions, is the reason he didn't die. He was able to be convinced. But even that, most fathers wouldn't have listened. They would just fucking kill the kid. So the fact that he was able to acknowledge that his kid did something is what makes his development interesting. I'm not saying he's winning Father of the Year awards, but he's doing, if anything, he's probably better than most of these fathers would be. Now here's the thing. A small pile of shit is still a piece of shit in the grand picture of the pasture of shit. But you can't just be like, oh my god, he deserves to die. No, like, he's a very interesting character. Same thing with her family. Both her mother and father are shit. Now, this was also a topic of discussion. I don't know why. Did her father beat her? No. Seemingly the mother was a lot of the physical abuse. But emotional abuse and emotional neglect is still abuse. The father allowed this shit to happen. There's a reason why if you shoot someone and you're with someone and you didn't, you know, you can be involved in that murder. Same thing. Their family dynamics were very shit. But the fact that you actually see her family crying and actually acknowledging, now they don't have an apology to her, but we actually do get to see her family acknowledge. So she has a sister. I'll be honest, I didn't even realize she had a fucking sister. Probably just forgot. Now, dad, out of the two parents, is absolutely probably the one who was the nicest. The mother, however, was an interesting beast. It actually feels like she's acknowledging in this moment. This isn't a, oh my god, think of what people will believe if they know our kid was here. I actually got the impression she had resentment. And I think this is what's probably my overall favorite unexpected part of the show, is that the shitty family dynamics on both character sides were more complex than the surface level evil bullshit that they appeared at face value. And I think this is a good example of why I probably enjoy this show or shows like it more than r/anime or your average anime watcher, because I actually see the nuanced details that they're writing here. Where a lot of people are like, oh, it's just an abuse of crying, you can't crocodile tears. And hey, we all have our traumas, we all have our stuff that we've experienced in our life that maybe these types of storylines you can never forgive because of stuff you've dealt with. Or maybe it is just because people are playing Subway Surfers on their phone and not really paying attention. I don't know which. But either way, the parent stuff is way better than most people give credit. This is not me saying, oh my god, let's throw them a best mom and dad party. Nuances, smaller details, it makes you appreciate it. And this dynamic is why I'm excited if we do get a season 2 where their stories could go. She could still fuck up. Van's dad could still fuck up. They are human after all, and they are arrogant. However, it is more complex than people give credit. Now, we did get to see Arte use not one, but 2 dolls to cut down an army. Now, eventually some of our characters did get involved. She was a little worried about using them because if it's a member, the way they explain it, like imagine a lord who has no status or power like Van's army protecting a kingdom with a lot of status and power. Yeah, you're losing your title right then and there. So she, for the most part, handled it. I mean, she cut down... Now, at one point, they say there's 50 wyverns in the sky. If you actually count, like, one half of the side, there was a bare minimum 100 in the sky at one time. So we could say she probably did 150, 200 wyvern. There's a whole-ass army, and she's mowing down fools. And honestly, it was pretty cool to see. Something I was hoping to see for a bit was her utilize multiple of the dolls at once. I mean, there's a lot of details I'd love to know more about, like, well, how many would be her limit? Because I imagine she could probably march 100 in a straight line if she could just focus, because it's a basic command. But complexities with, like, movements like that, 2 or 3 would probably be the limit for most human minds. I am thinking of shows like Hell Mode. There's a character who has a summoner ability, and they actually explain the concept of seeing through different characters' eyes at once as, like, computer screens, and he could do, like, up to 6 or 7 or something like that. But either way, stuff like that is interesting, and it has, once again, those finer details that make a power system or ability more interesting than just Oonga Boonga fire or ice or whatever else, right? Either way, really enjoying the show. I mean, I would gladly watch a season 2. Fuck, you can give me the Tensur treatment and drop an announcement that we're getting 4 more seasons of this. However, if you left it off here, this is a really satisfying stopping point. I feel like I got a decent amount of resolution with the family stuff. They didn't rush to certain objectives. They built up his kingdom in such a way, and he has connections to powerful lords, that I feel like I could leave this off here and know that my boy is going to have a satisfying life, both emotionally, financially, everything like that. This was a great show. Probably my favorite watch next to Noble Reincarnation of the season. Those are the 2 shows that really scratched an itch. This one was a more kind of city civilization simulator, Noble Reincarnation, that deep political intrigue. Fuck it, we rolled. Those were 10 out of 10s if you ask me. Your thoughts down below, though. Make sure you drop a like, share your support, subscribe, ring that bell, and you know what? Patreon for live reactions, all these episodes and more, and other exclusives, because you know I gotta give those video shows, because without my patrons, you wouldn't get these YouTube videos at all. Alright, so today we got Just Why, One-Eyed, I Am Here, Alexi A, Alex Jackson, Crystal Harris, No Name, No Face, Dylan Fujimoto, and the RPG Ghost. I appreciate the support. Please take care. You all have a good one.